that we're gonna go ahead and see would be talking about functions passed by reference and passed by value, and understanding that within programming. So what does it mean passed by reference and passed by values? So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna use a data structure of a list, which we saw in one of the previous modules. I believe that was module 3, where we talked about data structures. So we should define a very simple function here, and then we'll call it change me. All right, and change me is gonna take my list as the parameter. All right, so let's go ahead and actually change that list. So we're gonna take my list dot append. We're gonna append some things to that list. Whatever list we get, we're gonna append some more things to it, right? So we're gonna append 3 and 4 to that list. All right, and then let's go ahead and return out of that. We can print the list, and then we can just simply return out of that. So now let's actually call this function that says change me. So what can we do? We need to set my list first, right? We need to set a new my list equals to, so this is my original list, and let's make it 8, say 9, 10. So this is the list. Now we need to change my list. So let's go ahead and change me. So we're gonna call that function change me, and then we're gonna pass it my list. So we simply define a list. Now we're gonna try to change that list by calling this function. And so once we call the function, we're passing this list to it, 8, 9, 10. So what we want to do is gonna take 8, 9, 10 coming in here, and it's gonna append 3 and 4 to it, and that's what we're doing. Okay, and now if I go ahead and print my list outside, okay, and then we can go ahead and print my list. All right, so this will print my list outside, but for this to really make sense, let's also print the list inside. So let's also print the list inside, and the way we do that, we should also print let's go ahead and print let me just say let's go ahead and print this guy. I'm gonna say x equals to my list dot append. Let's go ahead and print my list inside. All right, I hope we're following this along, and then we're gonna print x. So just bear with me for using x in there. All right, so let's think about this and just do a quick recap before we run this. We're looking at pass by reference and pass by value. That's the main discussion for this particular concept. We've defined a function. It takes my list as the parameter is my list. It's gonna take my list, is gonna append some values to that list, and then we're simply gonna print that list to the screen, and then we return. Now to actually call this function, we've defined our list, which is gonna be an argument, and we're simply sending that to change me so that it can be changed. All right, and then we're going ahead and we're printing that. So if we run this, all right, we can always simply change that to string. Not a problem. Not a problem changing something from a non-type to a string. We can do that very easily by now. So there you have it. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this again one more time. And what do we see? Outside we see my list outside, which is here. It's we're converting that to string. We're seeing we have our original list that we provided, and we've appended 3 and 4 to it. But if you notice inside the function, even though I'm printing my list inside and I'm saying string, the result is none. All right, and this goes into that idea of pass by reference versus pass by value. When we're working with something like lists and such, we're not actually taking this list and sending it into this function and being able to do the appending there is simply a reference to this list. So this function is simply going to the original list and adding a reference to it, but that list is not available within this particular function. So and to really see what I'm referring to, if you go ahead and print my list, let's do string on my list. All right, so if you go ahead and do something like that, you see we are actually printing this value 8, 9, 10 here, but